what suggestions can you give to someone that doesn't know anything so that they can deliver to me or to you something decent?
A couple of things. First of all, on the visual front, do something to help your lighting situation. Those webcams require a lot of light, and they generally prefer if the entire room is evenly lit. And so a lot of times if you're doing a shot, if you're doing an interview or a discussion during the day, what I recommend is if you can, orient your laptop or your computer with its back to a window, preferably a large window, with sunlight coming in. And probably not direct sunlight, but indirect sunlight would be best, just because you then get a very even, nice, soft light that comes in and fills your room, lights you up. That's probably the best thing you can do for a webcam. That's really what they're made for, and that's what their exposure algorithms are optimized for. And so that's probably the best way to do it. Do not put a window behind you in as much as possible. That will just confuse the camera and it will end up looking very bad. And then the next thing I would do is, if you're not in a position where you can spend any money or invest in a microphone, I would just at least use your earbuds. And this solves actually two problems. Number one, rather than having the remote participant playing back through speakers to you and then echoing back into your microphone.
Sometimes Skype doesn't cancel that.
Exactly right. So that's one problem that using earbuds solves. The second problem is it gets the microphone much closer to the sound source, which is you. And so it will, even though it's not an amazing microphone, it will sound a whole lot better than a microphone that is even just an arm's reach away from you.
Pluto's atmosphere appears to be collapsing, much more dramatically than scientists had anticipated. Pluto's atmosphere appears to be collapsing, much more dramatically than scientists had anticipated. Pluto's atmosphere appears to be collapsing, much more dramatically than scientists had anticipated. Pluto's atmosphere appears to be collapsing, much more dramatically than scientists had anticipated. Pluto's atmosphere appears to be collapsing, much more dramatically than scientists had anticipated.
Aside from that, there are some USB microphones you can get, which will, pretty drastically improve the sound of your audio, especially if you're able to position it appropriately. So, for example, you and I here today, we're both using microphones that are within probably 5 or 6 inches of our mouths. Maybe 20 centimeters, probably 15 centimeters, somewhere in that range. And so that's another one of the kind of cardinal rules of audio engineering. You get the microphone relatively close to the sound source, and that makes a huge, huge difference. You will hear more of the kind of a richer rendition of the sound source, my voice or your voice or whomever we're talking about. You'll get less of the sound that reflects off of the walls or the floor or the ceiling of the room that you're in and get back into the microphone. So it just really improves things. So microphone placement is a very big deal. USB microphones, you can buy a very good one, something like a Rode NT USB Mini. That costs about $100 US. If you put it in a position like this, it sounds like a professional microphone, and it's very simple to use. So even with very simple solutions like that, you can make a big, big difference. Again, even with external microphones like this, make sure you're using headphones. Again, that to prevent that sound from playing out of your speakers and getting back into the microphone. It just makes it much more pleasant for whoever's on the other end of the meeting or the recording.